Lighting wasn't so good. Is that better? I don't even know if that's better or not. Uh, Let me know if you can see me all right. Try this. Oh, that's a little bit better. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Let me know if you can see me all right. Let me know if you can hear me all right. Live video going down. Wednesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern time. I go live here on YouTube every single week with a different deep dive training that really is meant for my clients. Is meant to provide some sort of training or insight that I want my clients to either learn or be reminded of. And today I have a new one. This is the first time I'm not just kind of teaching on a particular topic or sharing information on a particular topic, but I made a post the other day that went fairly viral, almost a million views, and it's just a picture. It's an image. It's on Facebook where I posted. It's like a cartoon of me, and it's about building muscle. And anytime I haven't had a lot of posts go viral like this, but it happens when you create content online. It does happen sometimes, and it's so interesting because when you do have a post go viral like this, where it's seen by hundreds of thousands or millions of people who don't know you, and it's just shown to the general population, it's very interesting, the comments people leave, and it's almost, upset like, it's almost sad, the comments that people leave, who are clearly, like, just out to hate on people or things or get upset, think that what you're saying is wrong. And it's just so funny because this post is about building muscle, and all the comments are just people giving their own uh, advice on how to build muscle. It's so interesting. Just a bunch of dudes saying what their advice is about building muscle. Like, why didn't you just make your own post? So um in a viral post, but this one, there's not a lot of people hating on what I have to say or things like that. There's people, like I said, sharing their own beliefs, and there's a lot of just plain and simple stupid ass comments that are just totally wrong. There are some that are pretty much right. There are some that are in the middle. But I thought it would be cool to go through the post and the comments and just explain the comments that are most important and debunk them or explain why they're right or wrong. Um, because this is a lot of opinions of the general population. So I think it would be interesting to go through and do this. Now, for context, I'm going to give you what the post is about. I'm going to share what the post is. So the post is basically saying, are you putting in the work and not building much muscle? Here are some of the most common muscle building mistakes I see over and over again. The first thing is spending thousands of dollars on supplements that you think will help you build muscle when you don't even have the basic habits with training and nutrition established. All right. So there's no over the counter supplements that's going to add any noticeable amount of muscle to your body if you're not even training and eating right in the first place. So that's the second mistake is basically doing way too much volume to the point where you're doing like 5 or more exercises per muscle group. And the reason why that's a mistake is because what it means is you're saving energy in your earlier exercises. You're not giving every exercise and every set your full 100% effort. So anyone who's like stacking on tons of volume like that, 5 plus exercises per muscle group, it's like the telltale sign that they're just not training properly. They're just not training hard enough and challenging enough, getting close enough to failure in those first two, three, four even exercises. And that's how I trained in college when I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Um, the third mistake is when you're stopping at 10 reps and even 10 reps every time. Basically, what I mean by this is there's nothing wrong with doing 10 reps. But if you're stopping your set at the slightest feeling of discomfort, that's a mistake. That's going to hurt your ability to build muscle. And if you're doing 10 reps every time, you're not training properly. You're not training hard enough. You're telling me that there's not one time that you can push to 11 reps. Like if you're never finishing your set at 11 reps or 13 reps or 17 reps or 6 reps or 7 reps and even 10 reps every time, that's that's a clear indication that you're just not training hard enough. You're just going for the nice round number and stopping at that nice round number. It's kind of like when people track their food, track their calories, and their calories every day is like 2,000 calories exactly on Monday, 2,100 calories exactly on Tuesday, 2,200 calories on Wednesday, 2,000 calories exactly on like you never had 2,173 calories. Like nobody's eating perfectly 2,000 calories every single day or exactly perfectly round numbers. Like if you're actually tracking your food accurately, it's not going to be perfectly round numbers. And this is how I know when clients aren't tracking accurately because it's perfect round numbers. 2,100, 2,000, 1,800. Like it's not 1,850. It's not 1,854. It's not 2,175. Like same goes for stopping at 10 reps every single time. Like really you couldn't get 11 or you couldn't get 12. So again, mistake number 4 is only resting for like 30 to 60 seconds in between sets. There's nothing wrong with doing this if you want a quick workout, but make no mistake about it, it's going to hurt your ability to build muscle because you're not allowing yourself enough rest in between sets to then go and do the next set with as much weight as you're actually capable of doing. If you were to give yourself more like 2 or 3 minutes rest in between sets, it would allow you to use more weight and get more reps than if you're only resting 30 seconds or 60 seconds. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't ever build muscle. It's impossible to build muscle with 30 seconds rest. Sure, you can do it. It's just not ideal, you know? If you compare two scenarios of you doing 30 seconds rest in between sets and you doing 2 or 3 minutes rest in between sets and actually using the heaviest weight you're capable of while maintaining proper form, this one's going to build more muscle. But that doesn't mean you can't build any muscle at all doing the less optimal thing, right? So shorter rest periods just isn't great for building muscle. Again, nothing wrong with it, especially a lot of you busy guys who need to get in and get out. Nothing wrong with doing that. Just know it's not the most optimal thing for muscle building. And number 5 is eating way too restrictly, eating way too little food, trying to be in a deficit and starve yourself all the time. Because if you're really low on food, it's going to be really hard to build muscle. And number 6, not getting enough sleep. So that's what the post was about. All right. So now let's go through some of the comments here. If you're joining the video, let me know in the comments that you are here. Um, so someone said, somebody said, mate, everybody is different. What works for you may not always work for somebody else. Training's a very unique thing for all shapes and sizes. Um, like, yeah, duh. It's like there's nothing about this post that is saying everyone has to do the same exact thing, right? As someone who's coached over 500 people, like there's a reason I'm giving each client their own program and not giving each client the same program is because individualization matters a lot, right? So it's just funny that he thinks this is relevant to the post. Like all the things we just went over about rest periods, about making every set challenging, about eating enough food to build muscle, that can all be true. And each person can still have their own separate macros that they're following and their own separate training program that they're following. Each person's training a different amount of days. Like some people train 3 days a week, some people train 5 days a week, some people go to the gym, some people train at home, some people do body weight, some people do, dumbbells. Like there's so much variation to everyone's program. Of course, everyone's different. Let's see what else we got here. Someone said, "I don't count reps." Well, kind of. I only count them when I'm getting close to failure. And then I start counting to see how far I can go. So, I mean, it sounds kind of like all over the place, right? But it's actually not a bad thing to do. Like he's got the right thought process of it has to be challenging, which is what I said in the post. It has to be a challenging set. We want to get close to failure. We don't necessarily have to train until complete failure every time. That's, people get burnt out doing that. People get injured doing that. Um, but you do want to come close to failure. And that's essentially what this guy's saying. So even though it's not articulated too well, he's still, it's not a bad thing to do. Let's see what else we got here. Someone said, try 5 sets of 20 reps with low weight, uh, time under tension with 2 minutes rest. So, again, this is kind of like he's just giving his advice, right? You don't have to do 5 sets of 20 reps with it's interesting because people say you have to do 20 reps with light weight. It doesn't matter how many reps you're doing, it should still feel really damn hard. So, of course, if you're doing a set of 5, the weight's probably gonna be heavier than if you're doing a set of 20. But you shouldn't just stop at 20 because that's, like, the best number to do, and you have to do light weights. The most important thing is that the set is challenging. So, you don't have to do that's the thing about this fitness stuff and why there's not just black and white answers to everything. You can do many things. You can do 5 reps, you can do 10 reps, you can do 20 reps, you can do 30 reps, and you can build muscle doing all of those things. What's more important than how many actual reps you're doing is the set challenging? Or do you train hard or do you not train hard? You can do 20 reps like this guy's saying, but if it's not hard by the time you get to 20, you're not going to build muscle. If you could have done 30 reps or 40 reps with that weight, you're not going to build muscle because it was easy, right? So that the most important thing is the level of difficulty. Are you someone who pushes yourself out of your comfort zone? That's really important for building muscle. You certainly don't have to do 5 sets of everything. That's a pretty stupid thing. Um, you could do 2 sets of everything. You could do 3 or 4 sets. It's up to you. Now, this guy just listed 7 things, didn't even say any sentences, just listed number 1, he said overload, so I assume he means progressive overload, which is a good thing, right? That's what you do want to train by essentially progressive overload is trying to get stronger, all right? Number 2, he said achieve failure. So, again, it's not a bad thing to say. You don't have to go until you literally the weight falls on you, that's failure. When you cannot get the last rep up and you have to drop the weight. So you don't have to train like that, especially if you don't have a spotter. But you should actually get close to that. It was what we're all saying, right? You want to get within 1 to 3 reps of complete failure to make it challenging, assuming you're maintaining proper form. All right. So number three, he said longer rest periods. So that's exactly what I said in the post. Rest at least longer than a minute. He said creatine. He said protein, and he said lots of water. So yeah, can't argue with creatine, protein, and lots of water. Let's see. Another thing, see, it's so funny because talking about how many reps you should do gets a lot of guys defensive about what they think is the best amount of reps. So this guy says if you're doing 3 or 4 sets, 1 or 2 of those should be between 4 and 6 reps so you can grow stronger and force more muscle growth. So again, it's not bad to do a set between 4 and 6 reps. I do this myself fairly frequently, but you don't have to do this. You can do your 3 or 4 sets and you can work in whatever rep range you want to work in and still get stronger and still grow muscle. You could work in the 15 to 20 rep range and build muscle. You could work in the 5 to 10 rep range, 5 to 8 rep range, 4 to 6 rep range, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, whatever rep range you prefer. Or you can mix and match, like this guy saying, do only one set of between 4 and 6 reps. You can do that. You can do one heavier set and only get 4 reps. And for the other few sets that you do, you can work in a higher rep range. There's nothing wrong with what he's saying. You just don't need to do that. Again, whatever rep range you work in, just make it really damn hard. That's the important thing. This guy says rest longer between sets and lift heavier. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying, right? Um, this guy says do your sets until failure and a minimum of 3 minutes rest in between sets. So again, there's a lot of comments like just train until failure. It's not the worst thing in the world to do. Again, if you think you're at risk of injury, don't do that. But certainly, we want to get close to failure. We certainly do want to do that. I definitely don't do every set until failure. I do think I would get injured more and get burnt out more if I did that. But it's certainly not a terrible thought to just say train as hard as you can for every set. That's essentially what going till failure is, right? You could do that. You could, but the important thing is, can you find that balance between going just a couple reps away from failure, where it's still really hard and you're not going to have the weights drop on you, or you're not going to risk injury quite as much. Yeah, another thing about someone saying going till failure. Um, Someone said just lift until you can't anymore. And then this fellow says just stick to 100 push ups every day. So I don't like that advice. Push-ups are good, but if that's your program, uh, uh, you're training one muscle group and neglecting all the other ones. You're not doing anything for back, not doing anything for the rear delts or the legs, or you know. And then I did say, I replied to him and I said this. I said, why wouldn't you want a more well balanced routine where you're not neglecting pretty much every muscle group and just training one muscle group? And he said, I'm 60 and I do 10,000 steps a day and I look after my lower body. So it sounds like he doesn't train lower body, but he looks after it. Maybe that means he walks. Um, and I told him that's great. Put 10,000 steps are great. Do that. At 60, being active, that's great. Do that. Do push-ups at 60. That's great. Do that. But man, if you were a client of mine I would want you following a more structured program so you aren't neglecting your lower back, your upper back. You aren't neglecting your glutes and your hamstrings. It sounds like there's no plan in place for this person, right? There's no structure. You're just doing a couple of the things that you know, which are good. It's better than not doing it for sure. But it's also um, not a program, leaving a lot of results on the table, right? And then someone asked, besides rice and oats, where else can I get my carbs from for before and after my workouts? And my response was fruit. Fruit, in my opinion, is one of the best pre workout snacks. Get some fast acting carb sources. Someone else said lift until failure. Someone said not enough sleep. Someone said focusing on slowing down and controlling the eccentric, lowering phase of the lift, which I agree with. I'm going to reply to that comment right here. It's very important to control the weight on the way down. Someone said rest 3 minutes in between sets. I've seen improvement in gains and pump. I agree with that as well. Someone said 70 to 80% of it is diet, and the easy part is lifting the weights. So here's the thing where, like, there was another comment about how it's all about eating more, you have to eat more food. It's not about the training. And I think people are uh, misunderstanding building muscle with losing fat, because losing fat, of course, it's all nutrition. You can lose as much weight as you want to lose without even working out because it's just about nutrition and eating in a calorie deficit. But when it comes to building muscle, there's one thing that's a necessary to build muscle. You have to be working out. You can eat as much as you want, you can eat perfect foods, but if you're not actually working out, you're not going to build muscle. And you can actually build muscle in a calorie deficit. I've had many clients do that with with beginners. You can absolutely do that with people who are like detrained individuals who haven't worked out in quite a while. You can build muscle in a deficit. So it's not required to be in a surplus. What is required to build muscle is you have to actually be working out the damn muscles. So this is like, I think people are getting confused with, like, they've been told, oh, it's 70 to 80% diet. It's like, yeah, for weight loss it is. For weight loss, it's vast majority nutrition, which is the important part. But when it comes to building muscle, of course, like, nutrition is still going to be important, but you literally will not build muscle if you aren't training. You have to be training. You can still kind of be eating either like shit or not be eating optimally and still build muscle because you're working out. It's not going to happen for everybody, but it can happen. Hello, thank you for the comment. If you're joining the video, leave a comment down below. Let's see what else we have here. Someone said This is so interesting. Somebody said you're wrong about vitamins. I didn't mention vitamins once in this post. What I did say was that there's no like over the counter supplements that will add muscle to your frame if you aren't working out and eating properly. So I didn't actually mention vitamins, but it does apply actually. Like vitamins are certainly not going to build muscle for you. Again, people are confused about like in the context of building muscle. Just because I say vitamins aren't going to add muscle to your frame doesn't mean that vitamins are useless for overall health. I just took vitamin C. Like, vitamin C absolutely has a purpose. Vitamin D3 absolutely has a purpose. Like, I take vitamins, but I'm not expecting to build muscle from them. You're not going to build muscle because you take vitamin C. You're not going to build muscle because you take vitamin D. It's just, people don't realize that something in fitness or nutrition can be valuable for one thing, but not impact another thing, like a certain goal. So vitamins can help with overall health or help with a vitamin deficiency of some sort and not have a 1% effect on building muscle or losing fat. And that's usually the case with vitamins. Let's see. I'll do a couple more here. Someone said you need to push hard to the point where you make ugly faces or you're just wasting time. So I agree with part of that. Like you should be making some sort of a face. There should be some signal that it's a challenge to you. I agree with that. I don't agree that it's a waste of time if you're not doing that. Like you're telling me that like a 60-year-old person going to the gym, doing some machines, doing some dumbbell work, even if they're not making crazy faces, it's a waste of time. No, of course not. They're helping to at least maintain muscle. Like it's better they go to the gym and go through the motions probably than not go to the gym at all. Right. So it's certainly not a waste of time for that population. But I do agree that if you are expecting results, if you're expecting to get stronger or to see results, yeah, you need to be expressing on your face that it's a challenge to you when you're lifting. If you're just lifting like this with a blank face, it's too easy. That's correct. Let me go up to that one comment I was mentioning before, if I can find it. I don't think I'm going to find it. So if anybody has any questions on building muscle or what they should be doing to reach their goals, let me know in the comments. Shoot me an email. I'm live here every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll be back next week with a more structured deep dive training. I just thought this would be interesting to go through some of the common muscle building thoughts of people on the interwebs. Maybe it wasn't too interesting. Maybe it was. I don't know, but you guys can let me know. Thank you for tuning in. Have an amazing Wednesday and talk to you later.